This is the Recovery Lab.
Here we dive deep into the struggles, victories, and hope that stem from recovery.
No shame, no judgment, just truth, grace, and inspiration.
Let's walk this road together. All right, everybody, we're back. This is episode number 99 of the Recovery Lab podcast series. I'm Drew Hassin.
I'm Daniel Anderson.
I'm David Sugg.
We are the Recovery Lab. Y'all, today is a family affair of sorts. Got an effective brother, cousin, best friend. So it's good to see everybody.
Absolutely.
I'm half related to some and related to others.
Yeah.
So today's guest is Jody Penton of the Magnolia
Recovery and
Wellness System. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Glad you're here.
Well, you've been here before, so we're glad to have you back.
Well, I've been in the studio, but not on the show. Yeah. So
You haven't been on Recovery Lab?
You hadn't been on it yet?
I have not been on Recovery Lab.
I know, right? It's almost shameful.
Oh, wow.
Such a stalwart member of our recovery community. I mean, he's out here
Careful
moving,
now.
shaking. No, you're doing it, man. We're glad to have you.
I would have bet money that you'd been on it. I don't know why.
You've been too busy.
He's been too busy. We won't blame
Well, and
him.
there's lots of other people who need to be on here. So y'all do a good job of spreading it out.
That was very, very humble of you there. Like how you did that. Well, there are other people.
Just trying to help out the family over there.
Yeah. Well, nonetheless, it's good to see you. I'm glad you're here.
I appreciate it. It's good to be here. It's always fun to spend some time with people that I respect, doing the deal and talking about the recovery community and the resources available to help others. So proud to be here.
Well, you're certainly living the dream and living the life yourself. I mean, you're a very active member in the recovery community, work in the recovery community. That's got to be fulfilling.
It is. To spend the number of years that I spent taking, to be able to dedicate most of my time to giving today is truly a blessing, and it's a role that honestly I've voluntarily taken on, but was also pretty much thrust upon me. Had some really good friends back a few years ago when I was just living in sober living that said, "Hey, we need some help, and you're about to help us." Yeah. It wasn't voluntary at the beginning, but has become a true passion, and I feel a calling. I've just been put in a place in life where I have the opportunity to do the things that I think a lot of us would do given the opportunity, but I've just been fortunate to be in that place where I can do it. So.
Well, and if you can figure out a way to make money and make a living doing it, hell yeah. That's the
rock on.
Yeah, rock on for real.
Well, you're not going to get rich doing this. Let's not confuse anybody out there that may be thinking about taking on a role or filling a need in the recovery community. You're definitely not going to get rich doing this, and I think there's a few of us in this room that can attest to that, not just me. But that's really the last thing that goes through your mind when you decide to do something of service and to dedicate your life to being of service to others. Sure, we've all got bills and we've all got responsibilities, and thankfully I've been fortunate enough to meet those responsibilities and pay those bills and honestly to be able to do things I never thought I would be able to do just a few short years ago. But that's not the point of why I do what I do. I don't think it's the point of why anybody that is in a service role does what they do, and it's really about the satisfaction of seeing a need, seeing a person in need, and being available to walk that journey with them. Because I'm really not anything exceptional, nor is anybody else that's living a life of service. We may have been down that road in the past. We may know some people that are available to help people in a certain situation, and more than anything, we're willing to walk that walk with a person. And so it kind of gives that person the added security that they're not alone, right? And we've all been there. We know that in those moments of crisis that having someone by your side and knowing that you're not alone can make all the difference in the world.
Man, isn't that the truth? You know, I've certainly benefited I've had a lot of privilege in my life for sure. And I've certainly had some privilege in recovery. Yeah. I knew people.
Right.
I knew the right people. I knew administrators and directors of treatment centers that threw me a bone. And then being an attorney, there's an outlet for that for attorneys. And I've certainly benefited from all those. So one of the things that really I wanted for Recovery Lab was to be a hub for some information, because it just really hurt my feelings that people could perish for lack of knowledge of resources available to them, be it for the person in recovery or a family member kind of traversing the journey along with them.
Absolutely. And in a lot of respects, that's what Magnolia Recovery Wellness Foundation is. We are a hub for people that need resources and cannot access them. I tell people all the time when I'm talking to them about Magnolia, what is the basic means that people access care and help in America today? One is through insurance. The insurance model is just so ingrained in our healthcare system, whether it be physical health, mental health, doesn't matter. That's how we access resources. The other way is a lot of free cash. Anybody that is offering a service will offer you that service if you pay them the right amount of money, right? And everybody in this room, I'm sure, can attest to the fact that 99% of people living a life of addiction don't get to the jumping off point with a great job, a very good insurance policy, and lots of money to spend. And most families that are still involved in someone's life at that point have probably already spent a lot of money trying to get them help and maybe don't have the money left to spend, or even if they do, aren't willing to continue spending money to help that person. And so we have witnessed through the years a lot of people that are ready for the journey, are ready to get the help, and are willing to do the work, but they can't afford a safe place to live. They can't afford to go to treatment. They can't afford sober living. They can't afford transportation to and from work. If they've got a car, it's on its last leg. Most of them don't have their own vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people that we help, we buy gift cards to Corner Market for the first month or so that they may be out of treatment because they can't go buy food. And if you can't access resources, if you can't get back and forth to a job, if you can't even buy food, what makes us think that that person is going to have a successful recovery journey just because they went to treatment? And not only has my experience shown that, but statistics show that. Our own government and the SAMHSA statistics show that 12 to 18 months is what it takes in front of resources, whatever those resources may be: traditional treatment, sober living, faith-based therapy, 12-step programs, whatever the resource and path that a person in early recovery chooses to follow. 12 to 18 months is where the numbers flip from what everybody knows, that, you know, there's a very small number of people, small percentage of people that find lasting recovery. They flip to the exact opposite at 12 to 18 months of being in front of resources, that the vast majority of those people find and sustain recovery. And that's what we've tried to do at Magnolia, is break down that financial barrier and give people the ability to access resources for 12 to 18 months. We're not going to cut somebody off at 12 to 18 months, but that's kind of our internal timeline and goal, is to have somebody in that 12 to 18 month period where they have sustainable recovery and they've built a life where they can sustain themselves financially in a safe and supportive environment.
Man, that's great.
And what is your model? You've got, you know, like McCoy House would have the thrift store, and they're running a sober living house. What's your model look like?
So our model is based on the generosity, the generosity of other people at this point. Our initial, so we were founded in January of 2024, And we spent 6 months building Magnolia Recovery and Wellness Foundation, started operations July the 1st of 2024, maybe a couple days after that. And I believe Fondren Recovery Homes was the first sober living house that we placed a female client in. And for that period of time, we have relied on private donations, some as small as $20, some as large as $5,000. We've had, if I remember correctly, 4 private foundation donations, ranging in the 5 figures. And we've been able to use that money to support, I want to say the last math I did a week ago was 31 client months.
Wow.
In sober living. So
Wow.
To break that down, what that means is each client month is one person that we supported in sober living, along with all of the other resources that are available through Magnolia Recovery and Wellness Foundation.
That's amazing.
So
Let's talk about what some of those resources are.
Mm-hmm.
So, boots on the ground, you can get people places.
yes.
You provide transportation.
Yep.
Then you provide time in sober living.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
So, just real quick, the basic model, we don't operate a sober living. We have about 4 respected sober living communities around the Jackson metro area that we place people in. They're all professionally managed, and we pay for every client's sober living expense, and in a financially responsible way. So they'll begin doing budgets with us after month 2, and the financial support varies depending on what that client can offer for their own support. Beginning on day 1, we offer transportation services to and from treatment, to and from therapy, to and from scheduled work shifts, to and from doctor's appointments, and any treatment or therapy that client may be involved with. We'll provide transportation for that as well. One of the newest services that we have partnered with is a community pharmacy provided by St. Vincent de Paul Community Pharmacy. They're now located in Jackson, along with having a pharmacy in Biloxi and Hattiesburg. And any Magnolia Recovery and Wellness client will immediately receive a 30-day supply of all prescription medication that they need that's non-controlled substances. And after 30 days, as long as they go through the requirements of St. Vincent de Paul Community Pharmacy, they can continue receiving those prescriptions on an ongoing basis, and that's unlimited time frame that they can receive those as long as they qualify financially. On top of transportation and sober living and pharmacy, we provide a lot of direct-to-client services through the foundation. So one of our co-founders, Chris Grothy, is a certified holistic life coach and personal trainer. So at the point that any client is ready to begin rebuilding life, and I take that kind of, you get to a certain point in treatment or a certain point in the 12 steps, and you're done looking back, and you begin looking forward with how you're going to rebuild life and how you're going to live life moving forward. At that point, Chris comes in and offers a path through his holistic life coaching and personal training that allows people to begin building a life that they want to live, right? Whatever that looks like to the individual. It's a lot about mind, body, spirit alignment, a lot about goal setting and goal attainment, and physical health to be a part of all of that, to give us the opportunities to succeed as we begin rebuilding a life. We offer peer support specialists that are certified through the state of Mississippi. We offer sober coaching. We offer case management. Johnny Jerfit's another one of our co-founders, and I spend a lot of time just communicating with the clients. What's your therapist said? What's your sober living saying? We have access to One Step with the sober living houses that provide that, so we know when they're getting drug tested. We know when they're going to meetings, and we kind of use the case management to kind of be a hub to pull all of the information from all the different sources to be able to analyze and help each client understand how all of these different areas affect them as a whole. Mm-hmm. So we've got a lot of resources that we just try to smooth that road, that journey in early recovery as much as possible, while allowing each client to focus on doing the work of early recovery and not having to worry about the stress of, do I have enough money? Do I have a ride? Do I have somebody to talk to? What did they mean when they told me this over here? But it seems to be conflicting with what this person over here is telling me. And it just seems to be that these clients begin to trust us, and we're able to kind of be that one resource that they can come to spend some time and to be able to get really unvarnished look at where they are and why people are expecting them to go in a certain direction.
What's the biggest challenge you got right now?
Biggest challenge we have right now? It's always going to be financial. It's always going to be financial, if you ask me, because I couldn't tell you the number of people that we have to say, I'm sorry, we can't help you, because I'm not going to, in my role as COO, I'm not going to agree to bring somebody on as a client if I can't support them financially for a minimum of 3 months initially. It just doesn't seem right to say, yeah, we can help you, and 2 weeks later say, hey, I'm sorry, after this month, we can't help you anymore. And so it's always going to be financial, and we've got several avenues to hopefully alleviate that moving forward, but those all depend on the government and other individuals,
It's not a great time to be getting money from the government.
No, it's not.
No, it absolutely isn't. So, but there's still grants out there, and there's still many willing people out there. Just, it's an expensive journey to go through recovery. It really is. You're not just talking about $600 to get a bed and sober living and, $50 a week for groceries. There's a lot of other costs that go into it. I like to tell people all the time, if my sweet grandmother hadn't left me an inheritance, I wouldn't have been able to access the resources that I was able to access. And it was a considerable expense.
Yeah.
And I don't know that the vast majority of people have that available to them. So it's always going to be money. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of discouraging, but isn't that just kind of how the health and wellness in general goes? I mean, if you can pay for a good gym, if you can pay for a good trainer, if you can eat a good diet, and you get great results. Same thing is true in recovery. I mean, if you can't get 2 meetings, if you don't have the proper clothes to go on job interviews, if you don't have the food to eat you touch down out of a treatment facility or a jail or an institution, you don't have anything, your chances are just to really, really like bootstrap it are not that good. All that pain piles up, all that frustration piles up, and the fastest thing to do is go catch a buzz. That's the easiest thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
But actually, like, stick it out. I mean, Drew, that's why I'm sober today. That's why just, like, you guys took me in and gave me so much, man. A place to live, phone, food. I mean, it was like, without that, there was no chance.
Right.
No chance of it. And that was almost a year of really a lot of hand-holding and just really putting up with me, because it was y'all were putting up with it. I smelled like jail.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. It's having a safe environment to live in is really the number one priority when somebody gets out of treatment from my perspective. And keep in mind, I'm not a professional. I'm not licensed in any way. I'm somebody that's witnessed a lot of people's journey in early recovery and have seen what worked and what didn't work. And the most dangerous thing, in my opinion, is for someone to have to return to an unsafe, toxic, non-supportive environment that they left when they went to treatment. The old saying, if nothing changes, right? And if your entire living environment is exactly the same as it was 30, 60, 90 days ago, why would anybody suspect that this person is going to be able to sustain recovery? And that's the vast majority of people that go to treatment, is they return to the exact same environment that they left prior to treatment.
Yeah, look, I can't ever say enough good about sober living. Oxford House, in many ways, saved my life and recreated it for me. Allowed me a place to live that had some oversight and some accountability, while also fostered real life growth. You have to balance the house checking account and things like that. And, without that at a very practical and realistic cost. The house I lived in, the houses that I lived in Oxford House were $125 a week. And, that's minimum wage worker working 30 to 40 hours a week can pay that. You can't pay much more than that, but you can at least handle that. And, having people around to be on the journey with you it's more valuable than gold.
Absolutely. And it's the same experience I had, but it was at Linwood House, and if it wasn't for Alex Cole having that vision, if it wasn't for Johnny Jerfitz and James Craven at the time being willing to manage and do and be involved in my recovery, I wouldn't have had a chance. And I was there for 11 months and would have stayed longer if not for some unforeseen, circumstances that required me to move out. And I stayed involved for another 2.5 years with Linwood House for that exact reason. Those connections, that accountability, the having friends that were on the journey with me. There were days that I sat in front of a coffee pot until 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, drinking coffee and doing nothing but complaining. And guys that were a year sober sitting there with me saying, "You're doing the right thing. Just keep drinking coffee, keep complaining." And about 2 hours later, "Hey, let's go to a meeting now." And I wouldn't have done those things on my own. So
no, we wouldn't, because you're right. It's not, I hope nothing bad happens to me. It's just a matter of time. We're all going to have adverse circumstances. You will, there's no avoiding it. Which does lead me to another. How do the people that are benefiting from Magnolia, how do they hold up their end of the bargain?
They hold up their end of the bargain by following the recommendations of the resources that they are under the care of, for lack of a better term, because that's not always the case, but it is with therapists, treatment centers, things like that. So if they're in sober living, it means following the rules of the sober living house. It means getting a sponsor, going to 12-step meetings. And we don't require our clients to go to a specific 12-step group, but we do require
you got to go to something.
You got to go to something. I'm just as happy if somebody wants to go to Celebrate Recovery as if they want to go to Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. I don't care if somebody goes to A Bridge to Recovery, if they go to Hines Behavioral Health, Urban Rehab. It doesn't matter to me, but if your discharge planning from your residential treatment center says you need IOP, then I'm going to do everything in my power to help you
do that.
Do that, and once you're there, I want you to follow those recommendations. And that's not to say that every recommendation from one of these resources is going to be spot on. We all have the ability to think for ourselves, but don't make decisions unilaterally, right? If you're going to not take the advice of a treatment center or a therapist or a sober living house manager, we expect you to talk to us, and we talk to our clients regularly. I mean, I talk to every one of our clients minimum of 2 to 3 times a month, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's enough to understand what's going on in these people's lives, right?
Well, you're just one person in their orbit that they're talking to a couple times a month. And if they have 3 or 4 other people in their sphere with whom they're speaking 2 or 3 times a month, all of a sudden you've got somebody's talking to this person 4 or 5 times a week.
Right. Well, and we've got 3 people at Magnolia, Johnny, Chris, and myself, that regularly talk to all of our clients, and I can't tell you the number of text messages that are flying back and forth with Magnolia, and we've got peer support specialists that may talk to these people a couple of times a week. And so we're abreast of every conversation that these people are having, either through direct conversation with our coworkers or through text message. So, when I get on the phone with client A and they start telling me about some struggle they've had for the last 2 weeks, it's not the first time I'm hearing about it. I guarantee you that. Now, if it's a struggle they're having today, I may be the first person at Magnolia to hear about it, but everybody else is going to hear about it within, the next couple of hours. So, it's pretty rare that one of our clients is going to struggle through something on their own unless they want to.
Unless they want to.
Right. And they know pretty quickly that we're there because we care. Mm-hmm. And that's huge. That is huge. The the reason I went to treatment the last time is because my therapist, who's also in recovery, showed up at my house at 9:30 on a Tuesday morning out of the clear blue, had no reason or need to be there other than he cared about me and he knew that I was struggling. And that was enough to show me that somebody cared, and I was going to do what that man said do, and I still do what that man says do. Yeah. You know, and so for our clients to know that we care and that they can trust us is really the goal.
Look, I'm reminded. So I heard this quote the other day, and I thought that I would share it. If we knew each other's secrets, what comforts we should find. And I thought, man, isn't that the truth? You know, if I could have people that were willing to share their mistakes with me, how comforted I might be in knowing that I wasn't the only one that did this.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons I wanted Recovery Lab to be a thing, was if I was willing to come on here and be honest about my mistakes and screw ups and consequences, maybe somebody could hear it and think, I screwed up just like that.
Right.
And look at Drew. He's putting his life largely back together. Yeah. And so there's hope there. If we knew each other's secrets, what comforts we should find. So this is one thing that I wish was done a little bit more in recovery. You really hit the nail on the head a minute ago, talking about the looking back and the critical assessment of our own thoughts and behaviors in doing step work. And one thing that gets left out, I think, more often than it should, and to everyone's detriment, are celebrations of the good things. What has been the most meaningful thing in Magnolia that you've experienced?
Wow. There's so many meaningful things.
Well, what was the thing that happened and you were like, hell yeah, that's why we do this?
This is why we're here.
So I can tell you the most recent significantly meaningful thing that
I want to hear all about it.
So we have a client. She's been with us 7 months or so, I believe. She went from not being able to pay a penny of her sober living, having no transportation, having us get her scholarshiped into an IOP program. So pretty much didn't have the ability to do anything because of financial resources. And she has some education. She had experience in banking, but she just was fresh out of treatment and could not do anything other than ask for help. And that was it. She was at the mercy of...
That's not nothing.
That's great that she was willing to ask for help, but that's all she had was the, the generosity of others to count on. I remember when she called me, I guess it's been about 3 weeks ago now, and she said, hey, I've got my second interview at Trustmark Bank.
Wow.
And I went, wow, here's somebody that could not pay 50 cents to get on a bus 7 months ago, roughly. And she's got her second interview with Trustmark Bank. How cool is that? That is so cool. I mean, not only potentially has Magnolia affected her life, but how she will be able to affect the lives of others, right? That ripple effect. You drop a pebble in a lake and watch it ripple out, right? And I don't know what that'll be, but I guarantee you it's going to be awesome if we could just sit down and have, that string of people come in and say, well, Magnolia helped her, she helped me, I helped this person, that person helped this person. And what reason I say that is that helps our entire community. That helps our entire world potentially. And how many people are we letting slip through the cracks that have the potential to make our world better simply because they didn't get the chance? So yeah, there's everyday wins that I hear about with Magnolia, but you ask for one, that's definitely
that's a great one. David, you got any follow-ups?
Yeah, just thinking about with Fondren Recovery Homes being pretty involved with your foundation, some of the success stories that we've seen because of you guys. We try to let people in when we can, but we can't always do it. But y'all have supported some people that we were really just, it's coin flip, crapshoot. Like we just don't know it. And you're absolutely right. They're not gonna make it. They're not gonna make it. What other services are y'all providing or wanting to provide besides sober living? You mentioned something about, like the food pack or those basic necessities when they get out. I mean, if you're hungry and you don't have $10 to get, throw $1 in the basket, when you first touch down, you start really, really hurting. So do y'all have some kind of like, welcome home thing that you're offering to everybody, or?
We don't, as a general rule, we don't have a standard package that we offer to people, but we spend significant time interviewing and getting to know people before they get out of treatment, which is the residential treatment, which is the primary way that we bring on new clients, right, is through conversations with therapists and case managers at treatment centers. Now, we may hear about that from y'all. You may have gotten a call from a treatment center and then call us, or the treatment center may call us directly, but we have a pretty good idea of where these people are financially before they get out of treatment, and we're not going to let any client go without basic needs. So, we may take them shopping if it's a one-off and they've got a job that they're starting in 3 or 4 days, or we've had several clients that we've just gone and gotten gift cards for Corner Market or Kroger and tell them, hey, this is for the next 5, 6, 7 days, and let us know when you run out, or we'll check back with you in about a week and see where you are if it's, you hadn't called us first. So we've never had a client, and we will never have a client that goes without their basic necessities being met.
Yeah. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I got a text message from one of your fundraisers. We're trying to find funds to put somebody in sober living. I was like, wow, it's a really cool way to use technology. You've got a phone list, you got a numbers list, you're sending out a blast text, emails saying, hey, we've got so-and-so, it's looking for a bed. How can people get added to that list? And then like people who are listening maybe today or listen to this a year later, how do they get in the loop if they want to become a supporter of yours?
Sure. So one of the easiest things that we can all do, whether it's support Magnolia or anywhere else, is go to their webpage, right? Most charitable organizations have a donate now button on their webpage, which we certainly do as well. Not sure if Danny's got that listed anywhere, but if not, it's MRW-foundation.org. There's a donate now button on there. And
yeah, we got that on the show description.
Awesome. Thank you. We will see who's making that donation, and you would get added to our list of donors. We very recently hired a local guy. A lot of us know him, Ben Roach, has come on as our fundraiser for the foundation, and he's the one that the text message that you got. That's the reason you got it is you've donated to causes in the past that he's been fundraising for. So if you know him and you're interested in making a donation and don't want to go through the website, then by all means get in touch with Ben. And you can send an email or a text message to any of us. We all have very similar email addresses. So mine is Jody, Jody, at MRW-foundation.org. Johnny's is Johnny at MRW, yada, yada, yada. Chris is Chris at, same thing, MRW-foundation.org. Ben is the same. So you can reach out to any of us that way. Phone numbers are on the website, all that good stuff. And we would love for anyone and everyone to be willing to donate $20, $20,000. It all helps. So.
Y'all had huge success with the 5K. You did a race, sponsored an event, had a lot of people turn out. What was the coolest thing that I liked about it was not just the event, but y'all got some community engagement before training for the thing. I mean, that's what recovery is about, right? It's not a big event. It's a lifestyle choice. It's a thing we do every day. And y'all were training people. You were getting people walking. You were saying, all right, let's get ready for this 5K. And then you actually had the event, huge turnout. Have you got any more of those coming up? How'd you like that?
Oh, yeah. So Run for Recovery JXN was born out of a few of our desires to see the recovery community and the running community kind of come together for a big recovery celebration and awareness day. That was September the 28th, if I remember correctly, this past year. We have not met yet this year, but believe me, that is on my radar. We do have the same weekend reserved in September of this year, and there will be barring any unforeseen circumstances, there will be a Run for Recovery JXN 25. You know, I have a huge dream that will grow into multiple races around the state. It'll involve sponsoring runners similar to what St. Jude does when they do their, run every year in Memphis, where say you're not a runner or a walker, but you want to support somebody that's doing it, and you can go on there and donate in Jody's name or David's name or Drew's name. And,
it won't be in my name.
You can walk. You can walk, buddy. You're going to walk it this year.
I'll walk it this year.
You absolutely
Look
are
here.
gonna do
Here,
it, so.
I'm fully committing. I will walk.
Yeah.
Distance.
And look,
I'm not walking a marathon, but
like David said, we do these training days, and we do it as group training, and it's any and all free of charge. And Finder and Fitness co-sponsored that with us this year. And we had Neil Woodall that did the strength training portion of it. Craig Whitfield did the flexibility portion of it. And I think just by default, I got to do the running training portion of it. We had people that had never set foot in a gym. We had people that could not run a mile the first day that we did a group run. And all of them finished the run, running, not walking, running. The one person that I'm thinking about, he couldn't run the first day. He couldn't run a mile, and so we started with run walking, and that was maybe 4 months prior to the 5K. He finished the 5K in about 31, 32 minutes. 2 weeks later, he ran another 5K with me on his own. Just said, "I love this. I'm going to come run. When's the next one you're running?" And he knocked about 4 minutes off his 5K. And he has since taken up CrossFit with CrossFit Comeback. And if y'all hadn't heard about them, that's something you need to go look up too. That's a really cool recovery.
What
CrossFit.
is that?
CrossFit Comeback. They're in Clinton. It's recovery based as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. So he fell in with the CrossFit crowd, which good for him. He found what he loved. But running got him started with it, and offering that community based training program, I think had a lot to do with it. He wasn't going to go out and run on his own. But having a group to show up every Saturday morning.
I like this story. I like
Yeah,
this.
it's groovy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a CrossFit Comeback. If y'all are listening, or if y'all know somebody who knows them, they want to come on, please, let's have you in the studio and tell us your story. We
That's
want to hear
Erin Reese, and I believe her husband is Adam. But they are in Clinton, and they're doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people in the sober living community are going out there. They host a CrossFit class. I believe it's on Wednesday evenings that anybody can come to free of charge, and it's recovery.
If you relapse,
based.
you got to do 1,000 burpees.
Yeah, right. That's enough. If you told me I had to do one burpee, that would be enough for me to not relapse
Not gonna
today.
pick up that.
God, those things are miserable.
Man.
That's good. But you're going to be doing the race again in September. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on my calendar. I want to be a part of that. And anybody who's looking for something to do or get involved in, trying to get moving, it's never too early to start walking, doing some stuff. But when will you start doing some group stuff? When should we be on the lookout for that?
In the near future, I'll probably shoot for about 4 months out again this year. That seemed to be a good window to keep people motivated, give them enough time, but not to let it get stale and burn out.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was to say, I got to throw a bone here. So Ruth Ann Rigby and First Responders of Mississippi and Costas Matthias and A Bridge to Recovery were huge in bringing that Run for Recovery to life. And they will be huge moving forward. So once we all get together, we'll make that announcement. It'll be soon, though.
Cool.
What I absolutely love about this is recovery is really intended not to become your whole life, but to give you the ability to make these kinds of connections, to become involved in other things that don't have anything to do with recovery.
Right.
And that's truly what I think gets overlooked. Being in recovery isn't going to 10,000 meetings a year. Although if that's your thing, more power to you.
Or if you need to do that.
Or if you need to do 10,000 meetings a year, have at it. But what I love are people that get sober and find other things that are fulfilling to them.
Yeah. And David, that's one of the things we talked about a couple of weeks ago when we had coffee. And I said, what really kind of upsets me is so much of the recovery world stops with, okay, I've taken responsibility for the past. I've gotten to a place of stable recovery, but what about the rest of my life, right? And Drew, you hit the nail on the head, man. Is recovery, in my opinion, gives us the ability to live the life we either A, have always dreamed of, or B, never knew we were wanted to live, right?
I couldn't agree more.
I didn't know half of the things about myself that I know about myself today. And hopefully that's only a portion of what I'm going to continue to learn about myself. But what that's given me the ability to do through the help of other people guiding me, of motivating me, of journeying with me, is the ability to find these things and make these connections and to live a life that I couldn't dream of prior to recovery.
Well, if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Think about the absolute investment we all made in doing drugs and drinking.
Oh, I don't want to think about it.
Like it's devotion on a level that's truly unheard of.
Lots of zeros and blood.
Yeah, it consumes all of your time. It certainly consumes all of your money, and it consumes all of your mental horsepower.
Everything.
Imagine the things that you might be really damn good at that you had no idea you'd be good at or like if you were willing to invest some of that in a new endeavor, something that yielded on average positive returns both physically and mentally. So yeah, look, I'm absolutely in favor of it, and I'm looking forward to walking that 3K in September.
He says walking. I guarantee you he's running that sucker. You don't know it yet, but you're going to run it.
God moves in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
Look, hopefully we'll get some support by some chiropractor around here. It'll help me adjust after running 3.2 miles.
3.12.
Okay, 3.12.
It's not as bad as you thought.
I was rounding up too far.
Go ahead.
I don't know if I've ever run 3 miles. I doubt it.
Have you run 1 mile?
You were doing some crazy stuff in relapse.
Look, if
there was this one time.
If you can run a mile or you can walk 3 miles, you can run 3 miles. It's that simple. Your mind controls what your body does.
Well, I'll say this. I went to spin class one time. This was a hot minute ago. And I legit got that runner's high.
Yeah.
Like I felt good on a level I didn't know was even possible.
That's right.
And like any good drug addict, I went back the next day to get another dose of it and never got it again.
Well, that may be why I push myself to run marathons now, because 5Ks don't give me that runner's high like they used to. I still enjoy it.
Built up that tolerance.
Yeah, exactly. So... No, but seriously, your body will do what your mind tells it can do, right? And it's no different than staying clean and sober. If your mind's telling you, I want to stay clean and sober, your body's going to do whatever it takes to stay clean and sober, or find somebody that can help you, right?
Well, look, we'll go in and throw this out there so that it's memorialized in the digital world. It isn't so much that my mind tells me I can't do it. It's my mind tells me I have no desire to run that far.
To what end?
Yeah, my brain tells me, is this an investment we're willing to make?
Yeah.
But I'll say this. So when I become a marathoner, it'll be because of the seeds y'all planted today.
Fair enough.
I'll do it if you do it.
Okay.
All right.
So we're all on the same page.
I'm in it now.
Mid December, the Gulf Coast Marathon. It's completely flat. It's an awesome race.
That is hell.
We've got 10 months.
My brain immediately went to, but that's so far away. That was the first thought.
My brain went to that ain't far away.
That's
enough.
such a long drive.
Damn. I think I got an ingrown toenail.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make it.
I already know I'm gonna have one. Look, Thanksgiving popped up. You know what?
My carbs are off.
See what happened was I got these corns, these bunions.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing I want to know is you're offering services to a lot of people that are coming out of treatment centers. A lot of people are coming out on day one. Mm-hmm. But there's something that happens to somebody who's been sober for like a year to 18 months. Sometimes we call it post-acute withdrawal syndrome. But it's like when reality hits. It's like, okay, newness, the pink cloud, everything's gone. Are y'all working with, or have you started working with people that are in that stage
that's
that
a
might
great
need some of your
question.
services? Not might, that do need your services?
So you mean, let me make sure I'm understanding, not somebody that's a client of ours that hits that point, but somebody that we've never engaged with that may reach out to us at that point.
Exactly.
Say,
I'm
"I need
18
help."
months sober and like it's getting real and I don't know what's going on, because that happens over
Right.
and over again. That's when people, that's like the highest relapse rate. It's like right there between 9 months to 18 months. People are like, oh my gosh, I'm stark raving sober.
Right.
And I don't know what to do.
Yeah. We haven't had that opportunity yet. Is the program or the foundation able to help someone at that point and willing to help someone at that point? Absolutely. 100%. Because most of the services that we provide in-house are really geared towards the person that's probably more in that 4 to 9 month time frame to begin with. And if somebody hasn't gone through that and they're 9 months, a year clean and sober, they can still benefit from that. A lot of what Chris does, like I alluded to earlier, is mind, body, spirit, and it's alignment and it's growth and it's looking forward. So, we're talking post 5th step if we're talking 12-step stuff, right? And really post 9th step. And that's a lot of what Chris does is what, throw out some terms that we've probably all heard. What are my core values? And where do my core values align or not align with how I'm living life and how I would like to live life? And I don't want to put too much out there about what Chris does because I'm not the expert. But I do know in general that Chris gets down to the nitty gritty of who am I on a physical level, on a spiritual level.
Yeah,
and
I can see how
grow
that wouldn't
from
be
there.
appropriate for the man that's 45 days sober.
Right.
Because he's probably thinking, well, his core values are probably something a little less wholesome than they might end up being.
He may not even know what they are at that
Yeah.
point, right? I mean, at that point for me, I was just
I'm
like,
trying to get mine.
I just don't know how I'm making it through this day without getting high.
No, and I'm going to say
mean-
survival mode probably doesn't kick off until at least 6 months.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, even 3 months. We're talking about basic day-to-day survival.
Yeah, absolutely, and I don't even know if my brain could have processed or handled what Chris is asking people to do for a few months out of treatment at least. And I really love what Chris does. I sat through several sessions with him myself, and just being able to put some clarity to who am I, what makes me tick on a deep level, right? And it was all about connection with other people. It was all about service. It was all about love. And I had not at that point in my life lived that way. And it was very impactful to connect to that and be able to realize that I could build a life that allowed me to stay in connection with those values, right? And so, yeah, absolutely somebody that's 9 months, a year sober that wants to do that deep dive. Number one, I would say, hell yeah, start that today. Like, don't even hesitate. Pick up the phone. If it's not us, pick up the phone and call somebody that's willing to help you with that. Because life is so much more meaningful today. Trying to align myself with those beliefs. And if it is us, then yeah, we've got the ability. I think our one stipulation would be, are you clean and sober? And being able to verify that, which is pretty simple. It's a drug test. And not that we won't support somebody that's struggling. We absolutely would. But if you're still struggling with drugs and alcohol, we need to get you in a place that will help you with that before we start that process of rebuilding and moving forward. So,
Well, I mean, like it was just last August. I had a close friend of 12 years sober.
Yep.
Ended up committing suicide. It was brutal, man. Me and another friend are the ones that just went through all that the day before, the day after, and it was horrible. But you take somebody, just because we're sober and doing the deal doesn't mean that we've got just some life crushing stuff happening. And I see a lot of people a lot of times like showing up. They're going to meetings. They're talking to their sponsor. They're going to work. They're doing everything they think they think they're supposed to do, but they're still lacking the same resources that your day one guys get now. They don't have a therapist, they don't have a coach, they don't have anybody encouraging them. And so the only thing they know to do is like go to more meetings. And unfortunately, that doesn't really do anything but just keep you safe during that moment. I mean, because the month before my friend committed suicide, he was in a meeting every day. It was every day. He was calling me every other day, and I knew he was hurting, but there was just something wasn't happening.
Right.
Man. Some connection wasn't being made, and it ended the worst way possible.
Yeah, it did.
And so I really want to see attention get to that person who's coming out of treatment, who needs it right now. But the reality is, are we ever done with the help?
No.
Are we ever done with it? No, we're not. No. So it's like, how do we, not just you, but how as a recovery lab, how do we as people with 12-step programs or anything else, how do we continue to treat even the old timers as possibly a hurt individual that needs some serious help?
I think one of the best ways we can do is what we're doing right now, telling people that we are hurt individuals that still need help. Because the example that Drew brought up earlier, if I can log into Facebook or Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and I can hear Drew and David and Danny and today me talking about, hey, I'm so far down the road of recovery, whatever that may be, and I'm still seeing a therapist, and I'm still seeing the same therapist I started seeing in 2020. And 3 weeks ago, he looked at me and said, hey, it's time to peel back this other layer. And I went, wait, huh? What are you talking? He goes, yeah, you're not done yet, And so I'm still going through that process. And there's still things about me and my life that honestly are hidden from me. And I need somebody else to illuminate, but also to know that once that part of me is illuminated and I'm ready to heal from that they're going to be there to help me heal from that, right? It's not just about, hey, Drew, did you know that you're whatever, you eat too much, but I'm not there to help you build a healthier diet, right? That becomes a shame-based deal. But hey, Drew,
I love that was the example.
I couldn't think of anything else.
I've never seen you eat a meal in our adult life, so I don't know if you eat too much or not. It's just the first thing that came to mind.
I appreciate it.
Nice save. Nice save, Jody.
But no, you're absolutely right.
I was thinking the same thing, Drew.
I thought I'm wearing black. Should be slimming.
Yeah.
No, go, please continue.
I'm not sure I can now.
That motherfucker.
I've got an amends to make immediately following this.
How many?
I'd like to have you slim down.
Yeah. How many Reese's peanut butter cup wrappers you got in your car?
Yeah. Are you eating Reese's peanut butter cups?
No, but I will.
Yeah.
And a lot of them.
Easter's coming up. You can get the egg-shaped ones.
It ain't. Yeah. Oh, that is right.
Yeah.
So what are you most excited about besides the race coming up? I know I'm excited about. What are you excited about in your foundation's work over the next year? What are some things that are happening that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm most excited about is the potential for expansion for Magnolia. I talked about it earlier in saying that, we've had to turn down way more people than we've been able to help. Way more people. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's exponentially more people that we've had to say no to than we've been able to say yes to. And with Ben coming on as a fundraiser, and we've got a grant writing team, local grant writing team that are really phenomenal at what they do. I truly believe that in the next 3 to 6 months that we will have the financial ability to help a lot more people. And I think when we do reach that point, that our community as a whole, not just our recovery community, that too, but our community as a whole, I mean, the Jackson metro area will see huge benefits as a result of this. And I don't know what those will be. I don't have a crystal ball, but I do know that those are coming. And it will be one person at a time, but it will be really, really cool to watch how Magnolia's involvement in more people's lives will benefit our community, and that's all I'm excited about, man. How could I not be excited about that?
Yeah.
Right?
Does Magnolia have some kind of plan in place to kind of catch that good feedback loop, to like follow up with people so they become ambassadors for your work, or are these people just going to do well and kind of go back out? I mean, how are y'all keeping up with them, or even intending to?
Well, part of the part of the deal with not being able to reach as many people as have reached out to us is we don't have a lot of people to keep track of at this point. And the fact that we've only been in operations for 8 months now, we haven't hit a place, I think, with clients that they're ready to be an ambassador yet, but that will happen. Cool. We do keep track of these people. We will continue to keep track of these people, and it's not a requirement to be part of Magnolia that at some point you're going to be an ambassador, but just like any of us, I mean, just like Drew talking about Oxford House, just like me talking about Linwood House, just like you talking about Fondren Recovery Homes, man, when something has been that big of a part of your life.
Oh, I'm happy to talk about Oxford House.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not be, right? And so I don't know that I'm ever going to ask somebody to go out there and plug Magnolia Recovery and Wellness Foundation. My guess, though, is that as clients, have a year sober, year and a half sober, and Magnolia has been a significant part of their journey, that they're going to start telling people about it. And at that level, that's already happened. Mm-hmm. We've gotten referrals from people that say, hey, my roommate said that you helped them, and I'm 30 days out of treatment. I don't know how I'm going to pay next month's rent. So that's already happened at that degree. But I truly believe that it'll happen organically.
I do too.
Yeah.
If you build it,
right.
It will come.
Well, I mean, here's a perfect example, and do not believe that I'm equating Magnolia with this person I'm about to mention, but we all know who Mother Teresa is, right? Did Mother Teresa ever have a PR person? Not to my knowledge. But we all know who she is because of what she did, right? And I think that's true for any of us that are doing service work, right? If we have the why at the heart of what we do, people are going to know what we're doing because we're helping others.
Good
well
stuff.
said.
Kind of sounds like you compared yourself to Mother Teresa.
It does.
Absolutely did not do that.
Exactly what that sounded
Although,
like. Yes.
if at some point in my life somebody said that, I would be truly honored. But that's not the goal, and I do not want to compare myself there.
Well, I love the work you're doing. I love working with you. I know my wife loves working with you. We can tell where your heart is, and you really are doing good work, and you're helping a lot of people. If somebody's trying to get a hold of you guys or wants to be a part of, you can find them on the website. You live on Facebook and be a part of some of the racing events. Is there anything else that you want to get out there and really let people know that you're available for or want to see happen they can do?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about people accessing resources after treatment. One of the things we haven't talked about is the person that's sitting there in addiction and saying, I need help. That is the most acutely distressful position that a person can be in, right? I can't go on living the way that I'm living. I don't know how to stop living the way that I'm living, but I want to. We help with that as well. Johnny and I have extensive resources, connections, and experience helping people access those initial treatment resources. And so Magnolia is not just about helping the person that's getting out of treatment or that's 9 months sober, as we talked about. It's truly
trap house retrieval.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I'm probably not going to a trap house because that's not a good place for me to be.
It's not a good place for anybody to be.
But if you're in a trap house and you call me and you want to walk 2 or 3 doors down, I'll come get you. I'll come get you. I'll get you to a treatment center. We did it this past week with somebody. We sent him to the coast, and it didn't work out. And next day he was on a bus and he was headed to Vicksburg to another treatment center. And so it really is about saving a person's life regardless of where they are. And I don't like that. Let me rephrase that. It's not about saving somebody's life. It's about helping someone save their own life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Because I can't save somebody's life. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not anything along those lines. But if somebody reaches out to me and says, I need help, I will do everything and anything in my ability to help that person. And so will Johnny, so will Chris, so will anybody in this room for that matter. But yeah, we've got a website. Our phone numbers are up there. Our email addresses are up there. I mean, heck, put my cell phone, if it's not on the website, put my cell phone wherever y'all want to. I will answer about any call that comes in unless it says potential spam. So if your cell phone says that, pick up a landline.
There you go. All right, look, I think we're at the end. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
No, you.
If please share, like this podcast, find these guys on social, Magnolia Wellness and Recovery, find their Facebook page, go to their website, find a way to support them. If you think somebody might benefit from this episode, please find them. That's what we're here for, is to make these connections happen. But they're out there and they're looking forward to hearing from y'all. So you'll find them.
If I could throw one other thing in, I want to thank you guys for what y'all do. I think being out there, just letting people know, having these conversations is huge. I know 11 years ago when I initially looked at treatment and recovery, this platform wasn't there. It was somebody in my family knows somebody and they called them and they called somebody and it's, hey, go see this guy, right? Us having these conversations, y'all having these conversations on a regular basis is huge for the people still out there suffering and the families that are going through it. So thank y'all.
Well, I'm just going to say real quick, we have tens of people that will
Tens upon tens.
that will hear this episode today.
We love you all.
We love you all.
Everybody give $1.
Now, it is amazing, though, the amount of resources that are available. I mean, right now, if my phone were to ring and somebody's like, I need to get into detox, we could probably get them into Merit with it can happen really, really fast. And people don't realize they feel so hopeless. Like, I don't have insurance, or I don't have this. Right. But there's so many resources.
Look,
for treatment.
If you don't have a penny to your name and you catch me when I'm available, or I get somebody that's available to drive you an hour and a half, 2 hours south of here, I can get you in detox today without a penny to your name.
Yep.
Hey.
Yeah. So, find them.
You got no more excuses, boys and girls.
That's right. Parents listening, loved ones listening, find them. This is what we do.
All right, we're getting at the end, so let's end with my two favorite questions. What do you do poorly in your recovery?
I've been thinking about this. Unfortunately, I've listened to a few of your episodes, and so I'm scared about
one of the 10. One of the 10.
I think the thing that I do the poorliest, what is the word that I'm saying? Yes. The thing I do the worst in my recovery. We're just going to go away from that.
Superlative of poor.
Yes. Right.
Yes.
The thing I do the worst is, and I've struggled with this my whole life, is to open up to another person when I'm struggling. My pain meter used to be all the way at, I have smoked crack for 3 days straight. I have no money left. I'm locked out of the house. Oh, crap, I need to share with somebody. Today, it's more, I've been irritated for a day or two, or I've been uncomfortable for 3 or 4 days. I probably need to share this with somebody, and I'm hoping that backs even further down, but that's got to be it.
All right. What do you do well in your recovery?
Routine.
Ooh, I like that.
Routine.
That's a good one.
I think that's the first that we've heard so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I made a promise to myself. I was probably 3 or 4 months clean this time, and I said there was a few things I was going to do every day. I was going to connect with my higher power. I was going to meditate. I was going to connect with another person or the recovery community, and I was going to try and do something for another person in recovery or that was struggling. And I've been very conscious of that for the last several years. I don't even get out of bed before I start praying now. And, you know, I regularly make 4 or 5 meetings a week. If not, I'm connecting with some other recovery group or resource. Yeah. It's just that routine is what my life is built on today, and it's built on that because it's what saved my life.
That's right.
Routine.
That's it.
Stick with it.
Thanks, Jody. Love you, man.
All right.
Thank y'all. Love y'all.
Another
Appreciate
episode in the bag. Y'all tune in next couple weeks.
We got 100 coming up. 100.
Oh,
10.
century.
That's it. All right, we're out.